Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's segment of COVID-19 coping tips. We have an amazing topic tonight, family relationships. I'm Karen Thompson. I have with me our guest, Sanal Milan. Sanal is a licensed clinical professional counselor with one of our partner agencies, Safe Harbor Behavioral Care and Christian Counseling. Sanal, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Karen. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about this topic. I'm so passionate about family therapy. It's one of my specialties. But my background is in family therapy. I used to work in brief strategic family therapy. We were based out of the University of Miami, but I worked in New York City and I was a part of the New York Foundling. I worked there for 4 years, over 4 years. So I'm really excited about this topic tonight.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you've got a lot of experience with family therapy, working with youth and adults and families. That's amazing. Let's get to the topic. Being in quarantine together in the same house can be stressful on any family relationship.
Mhm.
What are some tips, some helpful tips we can give for maintaining healthy family relationships during the self quarantine?
Sure, this is definitely a hot topic right now. And one of the first things that we have to do is create personal space. Boundaries are so important, especially when we're now forced to work, have our personal family time and have school, all these different
Hmm.
activities all in one place. And so a lot of families are really struggling with how to find the space. They feel it's pressure to have to entertain the children, take care of the house, also deal with work responsibilities all at the same time. And so the first thing that we need to make sure we secure is our boundaries,
Hmm.
making sure that we have spaces, a space to work and a space that you can disconnect fully, making sure that we're creating boundaries with our phone calls and emails because it can really be easy to spend all day focused on tasks, whether it be
Hmm.
for school or work. I mean, we forget to take that time for our families. So many of my clients are realizing that even during our regular day to day lives, we have downtime.
Hmm.
And those moments that we steal for ourselves in the car, listening to the radio, walking into the office, whatever it is that we're doing, those in between moments, they are really valuable for our mental health. And so, really being able to create that for yourself. So, another helpful tip is to maintain your routines,
Hmm.
trying to make sure that you keep things as close to normal as possible. So I know that many of us are not going to want to wake up at the usual 6 or 7 a.m., but making sure that when you wake up, you create a routine for yourself. So having breakfast, making sure the kids are doing their chores in the morning, and getting dressed even. There's this, tendency that when we don't have a commitment, we're like, I can wait, but we can get stuck in that habit. And when we go back to regular life, it'll be really hard to transition. The other thing is creating good habits.
Hmm.
So many of us have put off a lot of things that we said we don't have time for. And whether that be for your health or for your spiritual life, making time to pray, your education, making time to read, these are the moments that we can create good habits while we're in the house. So these are ways that we can deal with some of the stress of having all of us in the house at one time and make sure that we're investing in our personal growth at the same time.
Very good tips. Now I'm thinking about family relationships. What if a family relationship is already strained, be it a marital relationship or a parent-child relationship? People may already be struggling to get along. How can you survive being quarantined together with someone that you may already be struggling to get along with in the same house?
Absolutely. This is just going to magnify a lot of the problems that are already existing in our homes. And so it's not a lot of new issues that are going to come up in this season. There's a lot of things that we've been putting off addressing, or
Mm,
little things that have come up as issues, but we haven't resolved them because we've
mm,
been able to just go on with life and tolerate these little things that happen in our families. And so this really is a moment where the strength of our families are going to be seen, but also our weaknesses. And so I think it's an opportunity for us to really build our families, to build each other.
mm,
And one thing, this is going to be hard to swallow, but we have to learn how to really see each other as humans and that we
Mm-hmm.
are flawed, but
Mm-hmm.
also to understand the power of forgiveness in this
Mm-hmm.
season.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to see or understand that we may have hurt each other, because it's never always one-sided, right? We've done things that I'm sure either of us can tally up, but this is not a season to be tallying up the rights and wrongs. It's an opportunity for us to be able to move forward in our lives and
Mm-hmm.
really understand that in our hardships, we see the things that are really important. The family, the connections that we have are what really matter. And so being able to learn how to forgive, and I know that it can be really difficult, but this is also a reason to reach out to supports and take on counseling so that we can heal ourselves and then heal our families in the process.
Very good.
So being able to take this opportunity to learn how to be compassionate and how to fully love unconditionally.
Excellent tips, Sanal. I would imagine that if you're struggling to get along with someone, there's also a time when we need to realize we may need to put ourselves on a timeout and ask if we can just step away for a while to reflect, rethink, and then come back and resume a conversation. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And that's probably one of the primary things. I jumped right into the big, hard topics, but the first thing we need to remember is sometimes it's the simple things that will keep our sanity. And so making sure that when we're getting escalated, when we're getting frustrated, that we take the time that we need and just excuse ourselves from a situation. There are some families that parents are struggling with now becoming part-time teachers. And so we just have to admit that that's not our strength. And be able to step away or say, I don't know, or ask for help from someone else. When our families are struggling with, issues, disagreements, it's going to frustrate everyone to try to push through and reach a resolution. So it makes more sense to just take time to step away or drop a topic altogether. So that
Mm-hmm.
way we can be more productive when we do come together to discuss it. So
Sometimes we,
absolutely.
I agree. I agree. Now, I want to think about some risks that we might run into during a time of self-quarantine and pandemic, such as the risk of self-isolation on one hand, or maybe even developing some unhealthy internet relationships on the other hand. Both can negatively affect the family. Help us to know how we can avoid those risks.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, a need for connection when we go online, whether on social media, we're just browsing. There's really this need for connecting. And it can be really tempting in this moment to go back to video games and, being able to socialize that way or phone calls. But all of these things really disconnect us from the present moment and the family that is actually around us. Or even if we're not in a family and we're alone, that temptation to just be really focused about what's going on in the world, but not take
Mm,
the time to process what's going on in our world. So it is really important to be mindful. How much time are we spending online, on
mhm.
the internet? We have an opportunity here to build some new coping skills, to try some new things, to learn some life skills, and to teach others. So being intentional about our time is probably the best way to know when you're spending too much time and it's becoming unhealthy, and when we need to invest in some other areas of our life. So, there's a lot of great things we can do with technology, but we don't want it to overcome us and be the main focus when we have an opportunity here to do so much
Very good. Very good. Very good tips. Um, when is it time to reach out for help, Sanal, when it comes to family relationships?
more. Well, when you're experiencing a lot of sadness, or you're feeling like you're getting so angry, you feel like there's no way out, you're feeling hopeless about your situation, those are moments where you don't have to suffer alone, or you don't have to suffer in silence. Even if you see a family member that is struggling, then maybe they're having a hard time just coping with this situation. There's
Mm-hmm.
also a lot of real hardships that people are going through in this season. So, yes, there's family relationships, but some people are not able to provide for their basic needs. They're struggling with losing a job, or thinking about how they're going to make it to this next season. There's a lot of real realities that COVID is really bringing about. And so we want to remember that we don't have to suffer alone and that help is available. There's a lot of people that are also reaching out for counseling and taking advantage of this opportunity for the first time because it's more accessible. There are many insurance companies that are waiving fees or allowing video and phone counseling sessions for this time. So it's an opportunity to give it a try. And if you don't like it, you haven't wasted travel time or getting dressed or anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just an opportunity for you to try to get help and develop a new skill.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Sanaa Milan. You have been an outstanding guest. Thank you for the tips for family relationships. And thank you to each of you for joining us tonight for this segment of COVID-19 coping tips. This video and all of the videos and additional resources will be available on our website, 360wholeness.org. Take a look, visit our COVID-19 coping page on that website. If you'd like to receive counseling, if you want to reach out to a licensed professional counselor who is also faith-based, let us know. Fill out the contact us form on our website, and we can connect you with a therapist in our partnership network, such as a therapist like Sanaa or others at Safe Harbor Behavioral Care and Safe Harbor Christian Counseling, and other therapists that we have. If you want to reach Safe Harbor directly, you can call them at 800-305-2089. Thank you so much, Sanaa. Again, you were amazing. We
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Great tips. Goodbye,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
We'll see you
Take
for the
care.
next segment.
Bye-bye.
Now, Sanaa, do you have any final walk-away points or final words that you'd like to give as we end tonight's segment?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the biggest takeaways is that we cannot control what's going on in this season, but we can control how we respond to it. And so, one thing I think is really important is to have conversations as a family about current events. Talk about what's happening in the season, but also talk about what we can do, how we can inspire hope and encourage each other, and especially building our faith. So, being able to pray together, to spend time learning together is really vital. And like I said earlier about developing those healthy coping skills, it's a time to build our families stronger than ever before and to grow as individuals as well. So, getting into a place of connection with God, I think, is one of the most important things. And just making sure that you're not going through this alone.
Very good. Thank you so much, Sanaa. We appreciate you. God
Thank
bless.
you.
And we'll see you later. Bye
God bless.
now.
Take care. Bye bye.